I'll make a policy statement, and I have no problem doing it because I say this publicly all the time. We take people who need returns the most, people in their 401k and retirement, and we force them to be daily liquid for 50 years. What we're doing makes absolutely no sense because we have this mistaken belief that public is safe and private is risky. That's just not true. Public is safe and risky, and private is safe and risky. The only thing that's different is a degree of liquidity, and we haven't adapted to the financial system the way it is. One of the other changes of Dodd-Frank was to penalize dealer capital. Dealers hold as securities 10% of what they held in 2008. Markets are 3 times their size. There is no liquidity in public markets on the way down. There's only liquidity on the way up. We just saw this in UK LDI in the fall. LDI was not some crazy bet that UK pension managers were doing. It was a mistaken belief that you could sell AAA and AA obligations at market. And they tried to, and it went down. And they tried to, and it went down further, and then they started incurring losses. And I know that because we were a third of the market for 2 weeks as a market maker, and we're not a market maker. But things got so wide that we stepped in to make a market. I think that we have overvalued liquidity. We have not appreciated that public markets are mostly beta. We don't fully understand that the banking system is not the primary provider of debt capital in the world, and we haven't really adopted to this notion of where risk is. And what is risk? Risk is not being private. You can take duration risk. You can take credit risk. You can take business valuation risk. You can take startup risk, or you can take liquidity risk. How many investors need 100% of their money on Tuesday? None, or almost none. So for a portion of their portfolio, not their portfolio, why not get paid for something that is not a real risk? Less liquidity. Look, I say what I say in here and in public. I think it will start with high net worth investors and family offices, and we will see a trickle down over time. I tell family offices and high net worth investors that I expect 50% of their portfolio in the next 5 years to be in alternatives. And I hear like a gasp from the audience, like 50, they're at 8 today or 20 today. And then I remind them that the definition of an alternative is not what they think it is. It is not private equity or hedge fund or some sort of fund. It's just an alternative to publicly traded stocks and bonds. And alternatives actually exist from AA to equity. And we just don't think that way because we think private, alternative, risk, public, traded, safe. And if 22 didn't teach us anything, you look at the decimation of the growth stocks, not down a little, down 70, 80, 90%. We have to have gotten an education that public can be risky. Private can be risky too. They're not the same gradation anymore.